All right. Getting my phone switched off. A nod to Jeff Groves. And get our timer set up. I hope you are well on this Wednesday. All right. Ahoy indeed, Ruth. Hello, Susan. And bonjour, Paul and Chris. Great to see all of you. So let's see. I think that's everybody. Oh, hello, Sybil. It's, hello from the Sybil. You're. I just was correcting. Sarah's in New South Wales, but so I know you're in Australia, but I may have forgotten now where in Australia. Sydney, maybe. Yeah, welcome. So it's good to be here. And I don't know if any of this group made it all the way out to Omega or not. It did sound like from Lily, what Lily had said is a lot of folks. Oh, you are? Okay, so you are in New South Wales. Okay. Yeah, and I didn't make it on to even the virtual stuff. So I know Lauren, who is often or hasn't been moderator in a long time, but had been helping out for a long time as a moderator, was there Do Nothing Project last time. So yeah, it is. Yeah, so last weekend was Jeff's Being Human Takes Practice, I think is the title of it. They shifted that from I think they had used the Fidgety Skeptics name for a number of years. So it was cool to see, as Jeff was pointing out, all of the conviviality. I have not said that word out loud. I've typed it a few times last week. If you don't know who I am, or you're watching this video later on, my name is Andrew. I'm a Unified Mindfulness Meditation Coach. I'm also a software engineer, and I think this is now maybe 4 months that we've managed to do. I don't know if we've missed a Wednesday yet, so we have a 4-month streak, I think, going on. And so what's planned for today is we're going to do a 25-minute sit. We'll do a little bit of what I would refer to as kind of as a contrast sit, where we're going to contrast some light guidance with no technique at all, or the do nothing technique. And you're always welcome to do whatever is your primary practice, and you can always kind of just let my guidance be in the background, no big deal. Totally fine. Today, I think I'm going to play around. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do today, to be totally honest. I've been thinking about, although I haven't managed to get the meditation put together yet, there is a graphic novel called Imagine Wanting This. And the title and the graphic novel is really kind of cool. I have the digital version of it. I think it's Kristen Radke. Kristen wrote a book also about loneliness that came out during the pandemic, I want to say. But I've been playing around with trying to figure out what a meditation guidance around that would be. And so probably going to hold off on that one. But if that one comes to mind. So what we may end up doing is kind of basically working with a home base and then shifting into our do nothing at the end. So if you have other meditation ideas or requests, you can always send them my way. Probably the easiest way to track me down is on Instagram. Leonards.coaching is the Instagram handle, and you should be able to, I think I have it set so you can send it to me if you're I think it's publicly available, but And then, as Ruth always points out, you should, if you haven't, get a chance to like. So for me, the like is there, but I think the like is down here somewhere for you. It is definitely beneficial. Welcome, Deb. Hello. Hope all is well in Iowa. I got to sit with the Cedar Rapids Zen Center on Sunday, which is like the first time I've sat with them probably in like 3 months. So I really enjoy sitting with that group. And their teacher is Zuiko Redding, and Zuiko is retiring very soon. So, yeah, that's my Iowa connection that I think I mentioned to Deb every time. So, all right. Clearly, you can tell at the end of my doing day, I'm in need of a little being and a little all over the place. But all right, so yeah, today was managed to go swim at the community pool. It was like 74. It was amazing. I got in laps, and I got home, and so it was a really nice way to start the day. Only 2 days a week now in the mornings for lap swimming, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but still glad there's 2 days. So, all right, 25 minutes on the clock. We're gonna ring the bell. It's a little louder than I expected it to be. And really just doing what helps you to settle in to the sit. And for me, what I like to do is to get myself into a posture that will help me support being upright, because I'm going to be sitting upright. I'm in a chair. My feet are flat on the floor. I believe the reason you want your feet flat is because that allows your blood pressure to remain normal. If you tip your feet, that usually increases your blood pressure a little bit, or at least that's what the phlebotomists tell me. So they scold me when I do that when I'm doing blood donations. And just seeing how much you can settle into the posture with each breath. Sometimes it helps me to just allow myself to be heavy from the waist down, and giving my torso permission to be buoyant or light upright. It's key for me to start with my posture. Maybe not so for you, but that's how we'll start out here. And as we shift from what may be a busy day where you didn't feel like you had a whole lot of breaks, allowing ourselves a little bit of room to move from that doing mode into just being. Part of that is to see if we have any tension. We may have spent a good chunk of the day with our shoulders up, or I tend to hunch over when I'm typing on the computer, which is not super great for my back. Maybe there's some tension in the jaw, maybe in the neck, the eyes, if your eyes have been straining, the forehead. And just noticing the tension is sometimes enough for it to release. And if it doesn't release, it's our first opportunity to bring a no big deal attitude to this sit. Just it's tension. And then a few calm, deliberate breaths. Breathing in through the nose allows us to breathe low. And really what we're aiming for is slow and low, cribbing from the Beastie Boys. Using that tempo helps us to cue the body that it's okay to shift into that rest and relaxation state. And again, not putting any expectations on the experience, but you may notice a bit of the settling, a little bit of relaxing into the posture now. And again, if you don't, not a big deal. Just like a do nothing project sit, this is the waypoint that you can mark and come back to. So just this idea of sitting and knowing that you're sitting, that's the most simple, basic approach. So if we're going to have a technique, just sitting and being aware of that is a real straightforward technique. And as a guide, we like to point out that just sitting and being aware that you're sitting, that's enough. That can be a practice for a complete path. So if you hear that enough, you might think, well, then what do we need with all these other techniques? And that's a great question. So if you feel too sort of racy, too speedy when you're sitting and just being present, being aware that you're sitting, if you feel too racy, we can use that as an indicator. Say, oh, you can shift more maybe into a do nothing practice. Again, so there's just sort of like too much going on. Shift into that do nothing. But if we're just sitting and knowing that we're sitting, we might get too spacey, or we might not feel like we have contact with what's going on. And so we can add more technique to give us more of a feeling of contact. So we'll explore the contact side, and then we'll end with that do nothing, that side. And so if we're feeling too spacey, we tend to use noting and labeling. And what we're doing is looking for short moments many times. These brief moments of concentration within some elements or category of our experience. And we can set those set those moments almost like they're metronome, like there's a pleasing rhythm for us to notice where the attention is. Soak the attention in, and then optionally label it. So you're welcome to do a home base with the breath. But I'm going to consider, you can try this out using sounds. We'll use sounds around us. So we can notice where the attention's drawn. Notice that it's focused on a particular thing. Soak the attention in. And you're welcome to use any label you want, but I'll suggest here, HEAR. So setting a few things up around working with a home base. So if we're focused on sounds, we may suddenly be very interested in itches, or there may be body sensations that are really sort of crying out for your time and attention. Again, not a big deal. The waking up to the fact that your attention is not where you intended for it to be is really the magical part. And then you have that moment where when no one's looking, no one will know, but you can allow yourself to bring your attention back and do so without scolding yourself. And if you catch yourself scolding yourself, no big deal. Don't scold yourself for scolding yourself. But the magic is one, waking up, and two, course correcting. Oh, my attention's not where I meant for it. Let's bring it back. And then the last thing I'll offer with this is, if you don't have any sounds, it can be helpful to notice that, and then you can label that rest. So in other words, there's no activity, there's nothing going on in here. So you can notice that, absence, and label that as rest. So I'll let you explore on your own for a bit, and then chime back in a little bit. And so, one more point of interest potentially. So, if you were able to get in sync and really kind of get into the sounds around you, you may have noticed that you've settled down a lot and there's a pleasant sensation in the body. If you find yourself sort of fighting the pleasant sensation to try to stay with the sound, just consider you can switch to that pleasant sensation or switch to the body as your home base. We don't want to channel surf or switch around a bunch, but you can kind of shift and pivot from the sounds to the body if that's possible for you. And if available, again, no big deal. Okay, so this is your decision point. So if you feel like you're in a groove, stay in that groove. If not, this is the time we can switch over on our pedaling and sort of riding our meditation bike up to the hill, and this is our opportunity to coast. And so what do I mean? It's our opportunity to put down the technique and move over into the technique of no technique or do nothing. And so the notion is that we're no longer trying to direct or shepherd or anything with our attention. We're not trying to implement any technique. So we're letting go of that, knowing that we're probably going to pick up a technique and try to kind of shepherd or graft onto our experience another technique. So when we notice that we're doing that, we go, oh, yeah, I'm not doing anything. So let that go. And if you do that 2 or 3 times, just know that that's sort of the mind wanting to do that. And you can let that be. So explore your large, wide open pasture of nothing. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for spending 30 minutes with me on your Wednesday. Thank you to those that are watching the recording. I do hear from a couple of you every so often, and I really do appreciate that. Thank you for everybody that attended live, especially Sybil, who's beaming in from Thursday in Australia. So we have no sound. Oh, can everybody hear me, or did we lose sound? That's excellent to hear, Ruth. Okay, so you have sound. Chris doesn't. Well, that's a bummer. I know that I think Susan had said last week, or there's okay. So you have sound. Okay, no sound there. Okay. 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 Cancel that, went back in. All right. Thank you, Lisa. So I don't know what to do about the sound dropping. I know that is something that a couple of people had mentioned. I think I had gone back and tried to kind of scrub through the last week's, and okay, so there are some couple glitches. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry about that. Thank you for your patience. So if you have any questions, reports like Ruth Ruth offered, which is great to hear. If you're feeling anxious and you can kind of settle in, that's great to hear. And then playing around a little bit with the home bases. I use sound a lot now, and I think maybe I even did a sound meditation last week. So yeah, so hopefully that's resonating with folks. Yeah. Yeah, I do think that I know from listening to broadcasts that the YouTube live stream will kind of like, if you can hear it like trying to boost the audio sometimes when there hasn't been any noise or any audio for a period of time. So I always wonder about that. If like YouTube has the same kind of thing that radio stations had about dead air. But yeah. So I think everything is scheduled as normal for Sunday. If you didn't see, while Jeff was in New York City, he and Dan Harris and 7A have recorded another meditation party episode that'll be broadcast at the end of August. So keep an eye out for that on the 10% Happier podcast. And then cecmeditate.com. This last Monday was, I think Katrina was the guide, Katrina Miller. And the theme for the month is dealing with or handling stress, which is why I now have this thing on my finger. So this is I took the plunge and got an Aura ring, mainly for me to be able to get an idea of what my heart rate variability is throughout the day, so that I might be able to have some window into when I need intervention to intervene on my own throughout a given day. So anyway, the dealing with stress thing is sort of ripped from the headlines as far as I'm concerned, but I think it's sort of an evergreen topic. So thank you again for folks continuing to show up on Wednesday. Yeah, so I'm not a scuba diver. This is actually kind of a go deep, is a more like a go deep in like topics. But yeah, that's cool that you've wow. So you've been diving for 39 years, and diving in a landlocked state, that's not easy to do. So that's awesome. My girlfriend and I have done snorkeling a couple times and really enjoyed it, but never done the actual like scuba side of things. But this is Dave Gray is an artist and an author, and he made this shirt, and I thought it was cool, and so I had to get it. So yeah. Oh, refreshed and then nothing. Okay. Bummer. Sorry, Chris. That is cool. All right. Well, have an excellent rest of your week, and I will see you in the blue font on Sunday. Bye, everyone.